The 2025 Budget Defense Sessions continue in the National Assembly. The Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetukun, takes the stage. Initially, there is rapt attention in the room as the IGP begins his presentation on the forced budget implementation.
Observation, point of order, Mr. Chairman.
However, the session took a dramatic turn when a lawmaker raised an observation.
What the IGP is reading is quite different from the document we have here. No, sir, we are all here for budget. It's very, very important that whatever they are presenting, all members will be acquainted with it.
Just as the chairman of the Joint Committee attempted to intervene, his point was quickly corroborated by another lawmaker.
We are not against the presentation of the IGP, but I, as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, should have what the IGP is reading. Yes.
An unexpected confrontation led to a heated exchange.
What the IGP is reading is different from what I have. And I'm going to ask questions. Let me finish. Before you finish. Then I will leave. What are we reading now? What are we?
Loud shouts of "go" accompany his decision to walk out of the session.
What we are displaying is what Nigerian does not even want. If you have problem, Senator or House of Reps that have a personal problem with the Nigerian police should not be addressed in this platform.
Order was eventually restored and the IGP resumed his presentation.
The police is being grossly underfunded. We are limited by this envelope budget system has limited us.
I am worried because what you have in your entire budget, wallahi, is not enough to implement what you need to police Nigeria. The Inspector General of Police should have a direct access to the president. And some of these issues must be laid before the president and commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces.
Clearly displeased, the lawmakers threw their weight behind the idea of reviewing the budgeting process for the police.
Your Excellency.
Separately, the Senate Committee on Appropriations commenced a one-day public hearing on the 2025 Appropriation Bill, inviting top government officials and key stakeholders.
I want to encourage the executive to fully implement the report of the Steve Orosei Panel Presidential Committee on Restructuring and Rationalization of the Federal Government Parastatals Commission and Agency.
The President of the Senate and the Executive promised to deliver a realistic budget where every naira appropriated is well invested.
This budget of restoring this nation, is a beacon of hope, a strategic instrument to secure peace, ignite prosperity, and lay the cornerstone of a stronger and more resilient economy for Nigeria.
The 2025 budget is intended, among others, to continue to restore macroeconomic stability. We are confident that the economy is facing the right direction.
The lawmakers are hoping to wrap up the 2025 Budget Defense Sessions by the end of January. From the National Assembly, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Well, it's no longer news that it is, budget defense season, and we've been seeing all manner of, drama playing out at the budget defense sessions. Before the one you saw at the joint sitting of the Committee on the Police, we had seen before now that sitting on JAM Committee. There had also been quite a number of other committees sitting. Some of the things that we have heard is either mismanagement, because alongside the budget defense session for 2025 is also a review of what's been happening in 2024. So the committees, as the parastatals and ministries, are expected to bring along their budget performance for 2024. And all manner of revelation has been coming out in some of these budget defense hearings. Some of them they have termed misunderstanding, but quite a number of themes have come out of them, some of which are misunderstanding of the figures or misrepresentation of figures, inadequate budgeting for the year 2025, that's the fiscal year 2025, and we've seen that with quite a number of ministries. The Ministry of Information has come out with that. The Ministry of Agriculture has said their money is not enough. We also saw in the Ministry of Defense how their own budget, they also requested that their budget be upped as well. Well, these are some of the things that we're beginning to see at this budget presentation. And we're wondering, how is it that we're going to make progress in 2025? Because as you heard there, the Senate President saying that they're hoping to ignite prosperity for Nigerians and also make sure that they have a resilient economy for the citizens as well. How are we going to make all of this happen, you know, with some of the, let's say, the drama we're seeing playing out at the budget defense session? Well, Dr. Boniface Chizia joins us now. He's an economist. He joins us virtually all the way from Lagos. Dr. Chizia, I'm sure that you have been paying rapt attention to what has been happening at the budget defense sessions. Any surprises here? Because it would seem that year in, year out, we usually see this, but you would think that it will be on the down low now. It doesn't appear that way, or does it to you?
Well, I'm saying, you know, there are not surprises. I shouldn't be surprised because, you know, we try to do things the way they should be done. I think that's important. You don't submit your budget for a thing. I don't know what the two responsibility act says. The budget should be submitted by end of August, the last quarter. And so all this, you know, in trying to get it approved and so on and so forth, would not be there. So if they had a quarter to look through this and make sure that we keep fidelity to the budget cycle, you know, we celebrated the fact that on President Buhari, we got back to, you know, to budget cycle that coincided with the fiscal year. So that started from 1st January, but now we've already used it. And so you do this, you push it through. In fact, I'm even intrigued that this sort of likely the case because the feeling out there is that this is assembly is in the pocket of the executive. And so simply understand it in, you know, over a two-day period and simply pass it on. And then we continue to add on breaks. You know, the fact that the budgeting environment is just a ritual. You know, I think that it's even good at happening. But it might be you take the case of the place, the senator was spot on. You don't come and do something different from what you circulated. It's not on that way. There's no discipline. So if I'm going to sit down at a meeting and address matters as important as the annual budget, I've never had it at home, look at it properly, and deliberate on my own on it, and then come to the meeting with some, you know, some questions to raise. But the gentleman comes to the meeting, and then what is being read to him was a strange matter. So he had every right, you know, to raise objections. Mm.
So, I don't know. I mean, you have commented directly to how the committee meeting, the joint committee meeting that had to do with the police, where two lawmakers, as a matter of fact, raised objections saying that they're not, you know, they're not conversant to what it is that the police IG was presenting. That the document he was reading from wasn't a document they were holding in their hands, and we saw, you know, the other colleagues saying, you know, that I don't know what they were trying to do, whether they were trying to shut him up or whether they were trying to say he should calm down. It's unclear, but clearly he was dissatisfied with how things eventually went, and he left with some of his colleagues saying he should go. So what do you think would have transpired? Because a number of Nigerians are now watching that particular scene, and they have suspicion in their hearts as to what exactly could have transpired there. Well, Kayla, this is what we've been saying at the National Assembly. I'm sure you've also been watching with rapt attention. I think the first one that caught the attention of Nigerians was that budget presentation where Senator Oshomole was raising objections with the figures that the JAMB registrar had presented. There was an advocacy that JAMB should also not be getting allocation from the federal government, given just how much it's been able to make in revenue. And then much later, we saw Dr. Oloyede or Professor Oloyede coming out to say that there's been a misrepresentation, that they never presented those figures to Senator Oshomole, and he was reluctant to say those things there because he had respect for the senator. Perhaps he did, and he wasn't captured. I mean,
it actually brings to mind, you know, so that was actually, in many ways, that was a little bit of what happened there yesterday, when Honorable Mark Esset said, what I'm hearing him say is not what I'm looking at.
Yes.
Here. And that, of course, caused Peter Mweboy to walk out yesterday, So, and the explanations that we got from yesterday's conversation was, he's allowed to do an abridged version. If we say summarize it, he's allowed to do that. But you see, it brought to my mind exactly when I heard that yesterday was what happened with Oshomole and the JAMB registrar. Because afterwards, he said, I had respect for Mr. Oshomole, so I didn't know how to tell him that what he was saying wasn't what I was presenting. But look at the uproar it caused in the country. We kept wondering, what sort of insecticides are these?
Are they using for
fumigation? What meals are these? So those are some of the issues. And the ongoing budget presentation, I mean, like you said earlier, really on point there, is an opportunity for us to understand what they can do with what is being presented to them and what they have done with the money that was given to them before. I'm told that Dr. Chizea is back with us. Dr. Chizea, can you hear us?
You're not hearing me.
Oh, the network is a little wonky. We can hear you, but it's not very clear. That's what the issue is. I mean, we do have to go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We are having a conversation about the budget defense sessions going on at the National Assembly. And of course, we have been looking at the recent ones that have happened. What kinds of conversations have they thrown up? And where are we going next with the conversations on these budget defenses? The National Assembly Joint Committee on Finance had given a 48-hour ultimatum to agencies to appear or risk the withdrawal of funding for their 2025 operations. So how many of them are we going to be seeing before the end of January? Well, we'll be talking about what they are giving us. So we have been speaking with Dr. Boniface Chizea. Good morning. Can you hear us now?
Well, okay, I've stepped out. I'm out of step out. I'm outside now. I hope the network will be better. Yes.
So let's talk a little bit. Let's see if we can move forward from that conversation. We've been hearing, at least from the Minister of Defense, he said his money, it's not enough for the amount of work that they have to do. The police yesterday, we also heard, even from the members of that committee, saying, look, the money that has been allocated to you will not be enough to do the job that you have to get done for the Nigerian people. What do you make of these conversations about the money is not being enough for the work that they have to do?
I look at those ones that are, essentially very important. So you're talking of, education, you're talking of health, you're talking of security, so and you try and do that. But you see, we will not come with the sort of discipline that will help us to manage our resources. So even what we have is not being properly managed. So why do we have to create another ministry, livestock, for instance, and making allocations, so we're creating more universities and so on and so forth. So I think that we have to come to a place where we have to be very conscious, that resources are limited. So we have an economy that's not growing, an economy that's shrinking, in fact, inflation at over 34%, and so on. And who tells you, the value of money, within the system. And so we're doing all this. So I think there's a need for us to rationalize, and I said earlier on, to prioritize, because there are certain sectors that you cannot but, make sure that you take care of them, so that health, education, and security. Look at what they're doing there. Our troops in which state is that? Kebbi State. As we had there's a new terrorist group that's killing our troops, and so on. So you can't always have that challenge. We've not been able to meet the percentage when you take the totality for the budget, and then you take something like health. There's a percentage. UNESCO said we should give to health. We've never been able to do that. You take education, there's a percentage. So we have a global body, and because of these sectors are important, so they emphasize these sectors, and then tell you that even when you have your budget sum, so we have the expenditure of close to 48 trillion naira, they tell you this percentage should go to education, this percentage should go to health, and so on. So that's the challenge. And then we seem to multiply things, and we create the ministries. We're supposed to have a maximum of about 42 ministers. Now we have 45. Yes. And those things are wasteful. And so you have a challenge. You have a challenge of inadequate resource availability. And then you don't have discipline to prioritize. How this the resource you have is better managed. And so that's the challenge.
I mean, Dr. Chizia, it was very important that you noted that, because one of the things, at least even from the Minister of State for Defense, Mr. Bello Matawalle, he said just last year, based on the budget that he had, they were able to just get 20 armored personnel carriers. What can you do with 20 APCs if we're dealing with a new terrorist organization, dealing with insecurity, not just in the north, in other parts of the country as well? I want to take you back, because I think the network got a little wonky when you were trying to express yourself about the situation that happened yesterday, where Honorable Mark Esset and Peter Nweboyin were saying, look, what we are seeing on our paper is not what the police is reading to us. And then, of course, at the end of that conversation yesterday was also the statement that, the money that is allocated to the police is not enough for the work that is for them to do. What do you make of that? What impact do you think that will have on the security architecture of our country, seeing as we are dealing with a lot of these situations right now?
Well, like I just said earlier on, the fact is that the gentleman that had the presence of mind, to know that what was being read was not what he read earlier. He should be commended. I just say this because most people they had heavens, I can tell you, for nothing, for free. And most of those who sat around that table have not looked at the papers before coming to the meeting. And then, of course, it's something that is terrible. So for you to make presentations, pre-budget presentations, coming to meetings, you circulate papers, then you expect that, that it would align what they read should be what you presented. And then you now come there, and then people want gentlemen, to shut up and not say anything. That's a terrible thing. But for me, I see Nigeria, and I've almost given up hope. Well, maybe we shouldn't. We should be merchants of hope. But I think that the things happen in a way that we don't seem to be seeing us making any progress in particular directions. And particularly with budgeting, we're not doing very well. Like I said in my earlier comments, we should have budget reviews. We had them before in the past. So the media, the Minister of Finance will assemble everybody, we all rush to CBS here, and there's presentation, so I will go through it, and then some monitoring, some tracking, and so on and so forth. But now they're trying to do so many things at the same time. They're trying to review 2024, they're not trying to look at 2025, and then, I think we're trying to do too much, within this space of time we have.
So in your own assessment, would you say that this 2025 budget, as optimistic as a number of people feel, do you think it will have any impact on the quality of lives that Nigerians will lead this year?
It will have impact, but then you imagine how it will not be the sort of impact you and I would want to see. I think there's some issues in this country. That power, for instance, Nigerians are growing, and then you look at the way the price system has been distorted, because we want to, I don't know what's happening, and we're trying to do so many things. We're trying to do them together overnight. And the population is growing, so there's hardship everywhere. I've not seen anything like that before. My prices have gone through the roof. It's difficult to live in Nigeria today. So I think that it's a terrible situation. So we will do it, and then even the money you budget, there's lots of leakages. So how much of an effective expenditure that we're going to have? I think that we should begin to even ask ourselves that. It's never, so it's going to be looted and so on, and nobody around that table wants to do anything in interest of the country. It's what is a need for me. I think that's the challenge. So what am I going to get? So if we're going to spend money, who's going to do who are we going to do the contract? So what am I going to get out of it? And once you come with that mindset, you are compromised. So you are taking the person that's going to deliver a poor job and so on and so forth. And that's why, we don't seem to make any sort of progress. You and I, we want to see us make. That's the challenge. So we're having adequate inflow. Then once we have, we're not managing it well. And then you have corruption. Corruption is out of the window. It's a terrible thing. So I think that's the challenge. Yes, that's the challenge you have.
Well, Dr. Chizia, I do hope that in spite of the challenges that you see, that you will continue to see the glass as half full. We have to thank you so much for speaking with us on Sunrise Daily this morning. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on the 2025 budget presentation.
Thank you, Mope. Thank you. God bless you.